Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Seven Heaven, you already know we are blessed and highly favored over here. The most blessed and highly favored channel on YouTube. Let me light my little incense, y'all. I'm sorry. But you already know this was a requested video. I don't quite remember who it was that requested it, but it was someone who watched the other part 1 and part 2 that we did of this video. And yeah, I wanted to work in the comments about this too. Y'all know I love my little Vegas shuffle. But remember, y'all, like, comment, share, subscribe, request the videos you want to see. Yeah, so someone had commented before to talk about Elizabeth Ramsey. Now, of course, we have JonBenét Ramsey, born August 6, 1990, and unfortunately died when she was so little at just 6 years old in December 6th, 1996. So she would have been like just about 6.5 or just turned 6 that summer. And, her sister, Elizabeth Pasch Ramsey, I think there was like a woman, Luinda Ramsey or someone like that, that John Ramsey was married to before her. And she was born July 15th, 1969. She died January 8th, 1992 at just 22 years old in a car accident. And so now with her July 15th birthday, she would have been a tropical Cancer and a sidereal Gemini. That's something I think is very interesting about both of these women who are in this pretty messed up family, is that they both have a Cancer placement, whether it's in tropical or sidereal. And I talked about in one of the videos before how Cancer is not only a representation of family-oriented people, but often people who are deeply traumatized enough by their families that they seek it out. Or they're just traumatized in the family way, so they seek out something to make up for it. Or they just have a subconscious family wound, which I've definitely seen that pattern with some Cancers, tropical and sidereal. But I wanted to bring up Elizabeth Ramsey today because someone mentioned her in the comments, and I'm asking not just JonBenét to come through for her truth, but for Elizabeth to come through as well, to see if they might have suffered from some of the same fate, because to have 2 young women in your family die from, I mean, suspicious or violent circumstances just a few years apart, one can only wonder. And of course, we've talked about some of the trafficking that happened with JonBenét before, so we can only wonder if the same thing was happening to Elizabeth. So spirits, guides, angels, if you could please send JonBenét through and Elizabeth through so that we might speak with them. Please give us clear and concise. Okay. I saw these 2, so we're going to take them. I'm always nervous for these because the energy. I'm always very nervous. So we have dismemberment and affair to start, y'all. And of course, it's weird because we have this little doll and then affair. So I wouldn't doubt that the dad was cheating on the mom, but there's also a suggestion of his involvement. Because I mean, obviously you can't call it an affair when there's pedophilia involved, but like John Ramsey might have been inappropriate with the daughter. What else do we have? Caregiver. Wow. Wow. So what do we have? I just said, y'all, inappropriate with the daughter, and then of course we have, y'all see that says caregiver there, and affair. So again, affair is a weird word, and we are limited by what the true crime cards have to say. I do have to get another deck too, so we can get different messages come through, but I think it's interesting that it was just talking about inappropriateness from the father, and what do we have? Caregiver affair. And I think that this sparked something in the first wife too. Because JonBenét, that's where I hear it was the whole operation, because what else do we have? And we have this as well. I'm not really sure the extent of the car accident, but I mean, she was killed and pretty brutally in this car accident too at 22 years old. So I think there's some jealousy coming through as well. There's jealousy coming through with the mom. This would have been the first wife. So not Patsy Ramsey, but I think her name was Lou something Ramsey. Wow, Spirit. But look at that, y'all. Caregiver affair. I just said when the affair card came out, yeah, there's something there with the dad being inappropriate with her, the father being a caregiver. And then of course we throw dismemberment. Oop. We throw dismemberment in there as well. Because I look not just at the words but at the pictures, y'all. So there's that, like, the fact that there's just a little haunted doll there. And then road. We just talked about how the car accident was there. So it's resonating. Oh, thank you, spirits, for these messages. Please continue to give us something concise. Tell us your truth. Oh, always freaked out when the cards just come out. Wow, 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 wow. So of course we have assassination, and I really think that's something that happened to both of the girls. It's like, it's an assassination. I think this came out with JonBenét in the previous readings as well, of like, they wanted to get rid of these girls because they were going to tell. And it's so funny because JonBenét would have been about 2 or 3 whenever, I mean, who knows? Elizabeth could have been trying to stick up for her sister. And we have drugs and poison again, and this came out before. So I think he learned to poison Elizabeth. And I also think there was I'm hearing there's like she might have been drugged before she was driving and then lost control of the vehicle that way. You know? She might have been drugged before she was driving and or been forced to take some kind of medication, slipped something that would have made her drowsy. But that's assassination, y'all. That's straight up an assassination attempt on her. And interesting, too, that these two came out because it's like, there's that idea of you're killed by the parent. You know, like you're killed by the parent. Spirits, guides, angels, what else can you give us on this, please? Thank you so much for your messages. We hear your truth loud and clear. Please give us something else concise. I love when they just pop out undebatably. Please give us something else concise. And we have this pair. Fraud. I mean, the whole thing points to something that just straight up stinks. But y'all remember the fraud card came out for JonBenét Ramsey too. So it's fake. They're both fake. The assassination attempt is a fraud. Y'all see that? And remember too, you have this. So who knows if it was even a car accident? Because her boyfriend would have been killed too. And you have this 22-year-old girl. You know, you see it's a fraud on the road. People get run off the road. Nobody knows. But you have this girl who is probably just getting comfortable enough in her 22 years of age to tell her boyfriend. Now, I don't know that much about the boyfriend, so I'll have to do some research. But she's getting comfortable enough to tell the boyfriend about exactly what happened to her. And she's afraid the same thing that probably happened to her when she was so little is going to happen to JonBenét. First with the father, and then letting other people do it for money, right? So we have this kind of thing that becomes an operation. And I do strongly think that, like, it started with the father's own pleasure and it went into someone else. To somebody else. Like, you have this whole, it became an operation. But at first it just starts with this weird pleasure. Now, I also hear strongly that either with John Ramsey, with Luinda, with Patsy, somebody, they experienced this kind of abuse or witnessed it. So it was normalized for them. It does not make it an excuse at all. But this type of thing was very, very normalized for them. To the point where there wasn't even a second thought about it. So there's no kind of second thought about this. But we have this girl who's just now getting comfortable enough to say, hey, this happened to me from the time I was a kid, and I'm afraid the same thing's going to happen to JonBenét. So then you have her stepping up to do something about it. You have the sister stepping up to protect her baby sister. And then, of course, both of them die. The boyfriend who would have known this secret, and the sister who's stepping up to protect her little baby sister. It's very sick, y'all. This is very sick. And I always have a hard time with this energy because, I don't know, you can just feel it like literally in your gut. I have another card, where'd it go? You can feel it deep in the gut. Please, spirits, guides, and angels, we hear your message loud and clear. Can you please give us another insight into this truth? Gift. Of course, we have the thing that would have been Christmas time whenever JonBenét died. A hunk confirms that. So we have Christmas time, but also there's the idea that these girls are being bribed with gifts. And learned probably from like quite a young age to associate gifts with something negative because they were just experiencing bribery. So they bribed these kids into this. But I also think that they were gifted. I think that JonBenét and her sister were both gifted, which often happens with kids who are sexually abused from a young age because it incites certain senses, heightened awareness, and heightened defense mechanisms as well. So these girls were gifted, and their gifts were going to threaten to tell on the people who were doing these terrible things to them. Can we have another card, please, Spirit? Another clear, concise message. Let us be your audience. We hear your truth. Like, y'all, I really do think, I really do think that there's fraud involved. You know? And just the fact that it straight up was assassination. Also, these girls were being trapped into this. Not to mention what sexual abuse does to a kid, but the things that they endured trapped them. And their wanting to flee is part of what made them attempt what they did in terms of killing them, because they didn't want to be trapped anymore. So they trapped these girls forever with that secret. And it's interesting to me because a natural disaster, people think, oh, it's just a tornado or it's just a fire. But the human, I don't know, sexual debauchery is something that is natural in predators too. So this is a disaster that stems from the natural realm as well. And then, of course, we have strangulation on the bottom, JonBenét being strangled. Let's go to the tarot for a couple and then we'll close it out. Spirits, guides, and angels, can you please give us more insight into this truth here? Thank you so much for helping us. The Ten of Swords. And y'all see, like, it's really nothing nice. And we have the sidereal Gemini energy. So I think this is a message from Elizabeth. But let's see, what else do we have here? Can you clarify that for us? And of course, it makes you wonder, like, I don't know, it goes along with this assassination. It's loud and clear, this kind of assassination. You know, someone who's been, they didn't stab her, but they staged this car accident. So it was the worst it was gonna get. Please, spirits, guides, and angels, give us insight into this. Give us your clear message. We hear you. Similar to JonBenét, I don't really know if Elizabeth was in pageants or not, but I think that they had similar plans with her, but she had a different kind of charisma, or was more resistant to being this kind of star figure. Because the star that JonBenét was made into was very much to her own torture and detriment. But she almost got too famous within her town for the people that didn't know about these things. And again, yeah, that's JonBenét, the idea of a new start. But she almost got too famous. That's why there was that worldwide attention for her too. Peace, spirits, guides, angels, give us one more closing message for this. Two of Hazards. And y'all see this, like, this on a leash. It's that idea, it's same as imprisonment. Like, these girls, as soon as they could no longer be kept on the leash, not in like a precociousness way, but like whenever they're no longer this figure that's a part of the plan is whenever they became a threat. It's whenever they became a threat, whenever they can't be trapped anymore. Because for them to be trafficked in this way, it required them to be, you know, it's literally a slave. Like, this is a sex slave. And obviously in the zombie tarot, it's something different, but it's like a mental, physical slave. And when they could no longer be that, that's whenever this is threatened. And look, a baby chewing on that bone. It's similar to gift, the idea that, oh, I can throw you a distraction. I can throw you something that will distract you from this. So these girls were being distracted. They absolutely went through the same thing. And for her, for Big Sis, at first it was just the pleasure of Mr. Man, you know? But then, as such grew, JonBenét being famous, it became the whole operation. It became an entire operation. Where's my little fraud card? Yep. So it turned into this, y'all. You know, because JonBenét, they were able to make her famous. But know this, I mean, it doesn't get much more clearer than fraud, lies, and road. You know? So don't believe what you heard about Elizabeth either. Thank you so much, spirits, for coming through clearly for us. And thank you guys for watching. I'm going to close it here. Let me know if y'all want more information on this. Book a personal reading. The link is below. I love y'all so much. Please let me know what else you want me to do readings on. And I will see you on the next one. Stay on Cloud 7. Bye.